Good. All right, it's 5 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and thanks to Jen Cummings for the presentation about the Business Management and Entrepreneurship Program. We have two new board members, so for their benefit and ours, let's do introductions and say who we are. And actually, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves first. Jess?
Hi, somewhere. This camera. I'm Jess Austin. I am rep from the Springfield School District. I have a third grader and a sixth grader. I went to Fall Mountain myself, and my husband went to Bellows Falls and came here.
Great. And continuing the tradition of people named Jess from the Springfield School Board.
Yes, that should be easy, right?
Exactly. Jerry?
I'm Jerry UC. I'm from the Green Mountain Board. I got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old over in Chester, and yeah, I'm going to help right here.
Appreciate you being here. So I'm Bob Flint. My day job is I'm the director of Springfield Regional Development Corporation, and we are very involved in workforce development. And this is a big part of what we do, and happy to have been involved for some time. Andrew.
Andrew Pennell from at-large member from Rockingham, former business owner over the years in Springfield. All my kids have aged out of everything; they're all in college. So. I've been on the board for a long time, about since 2007, I think.
Yeah. And you live in Rockingham.
Yeah, I live in Rockingham.
Okay. Des?
Desiree Drew, I'm the Ludlow at-large rep. I am the operations manager for Magris Stock up in Ludlow and live in Baltimore. No kids, but definitely think that good education.
Great. Online, Kelly.
Sorry. Hi, I am Kelly. I'm from the Ludlow Mount Holly board. I live in Mount Holly. I have 2 kids that are older, and my son graduated from RVTC, so I have some connections. I am a 6th grade ELA teacher at Riverside and a former special ed teacher also at Riverside.
Great. Thank you. Chris.
Hi, Chris Hodgson. I represent Rockingham, or the Bellows Falls Union High School board on this board. 5 kids, youngest is 23, the oldest is 35. The 25-year-old actually attended 2 years at RVTC back in the day in the health careers program and is now a registered nurse. So thanks to all of you. She's deep into her career, and I have a long history with the Bellows Falls Union High School, but currently I work as a career center teacher at the Wyndham Regional Career Center. So that's me.
Thanks, Chris. Liza.
Hi, I'm Liza Gardner, at-large member for Chester. I am a software developer, been doing it for 28 or 29 years now, believe it or not, and kind of past business owner and entrepreneur. Hi.
Great, thank you. So that's the board, and the others on the screen. Christine, you want to say hello?
Hi, good evening. I'm Christine. I'm your fiscal agent here at RVTC.
Great. Melissa?
I'm Melissa Sargent Minor, Director of Special Education with Vermont Virtual Learning Cooperative.
Great. In the room, Nate?
I'm Nate Beeson. I'm the assistant director here. I did spend a decade at Fall Mountain now, so.
Tina?
I am Tina Bixby, and I am Derek's administrative assistant and the HR coordinator here at Riverville Tech Center.
Wonderful. Ashley?
I am Ashley Newton. I am the director of the Vermont Virtual Learning Cooperative, and we are a program inside Tech Center.
And finally, Derek.
Derek Williams, Superintendent Director here at RVTC.
So this will make more sense the more we do it, and but please stop us if we're going too fast, or please ask questions or interject anytime. So thank you. Changes or additions to the agenda? I don't think we need to do any now. Okay, good. Thank you. Any public comments?
This is not a public comment, but I'm back to the agenda. I just wanted to make sure folks are aware I'm going to have to leave at 5:30, and if you've got plenty for a quorum, then action items can come and go in my absence, and then I'll come back if you're still on. I have a special BUHS board meeting, BFUHS board meeting that shouldn't take very long, but just FYI.
Yep, no, I think we should be good, Chris, but thank you. All right. Any other public comments? Seeing and hearing none, first item of business is the consent agenda. Would entertain a motion to accept, please. Andrew and Des. Anything in the consent agenda of note, Derek?
So our enrollment update, we're currently serving 215 students in our regular programs, which is 18 below this time last year. That number is getting closer and closer as we're moving along, so I feel better about that. When you, for next year, this number is a little different than what you see in your packet. We have 210 requests as of today for next year, which is 31 students below this time last year. That's 20 students better than what went out in your packet. So I wanted to give you that update now that we've seen some significant improvement, which is great. Financial report, we're still projecting the deficit. It's a little bit lower, but of $24,204. Next meeting, once we've closed kind of everything but our necessary purchases, we'll have a lot better idea of what it's going to look like at the end of the year. And we may have to come to you and ask for how we're going to solve that deficit and whether we're going to go into reserves to make that happen or not.
And to be clear, he's talking about the current fiscal year when he's talking about the financials. The student count is relevant to some other things that come up later in the agenda in terms of how tech center finances and so forth work. And I've appreciated seeing the different programs promoting online and still trying to drive enrollment for the next year. So
there's a lot of room if folks are thinking about what their student might want to do in the future. Give us a shout. We've got several programs with openings and would love to show folks around.
All right. Any questions on anything in the consent agenda or anything Derek presented? Okay, if not, I'd ask for those in favor to please either raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Is that an opposed, Liza, or a late hand for? I'm guessing I was a late hand for.
That's my internet connection being unstable. I.
There you go. The magic of buffering.
And
All right.
I should probably abstain because I was not at that meeting for the meeting minutes.
Okay, so noted, Kelly. All right, moving on to old business, VTVLC.
I abstain as well.
No, because your predecessor was here,
I read
as was yours. Ashley.
So I'll go ahead and I'll begin with our financial report. We are right on target where we anticipated to be. Our anticipated surplus has increased slightly, and that is because of the amount that we've invoiced out has increased in the last quarter. And then we also be in a similar situation as Derek and take a look at where we are next month as things are closing out. Right where we need to be.
Could you speak up a little bit?
Yes,
Yeah,
I can.
thanks.
Sorry. You can go ahead and take a look at our current enrollment numbers. We continue to see our programs grow. We will not see as many enrollments in our traditional program because that enrollment period has ended. However, our on-demands continue to grow as well as our custom projects. Also where we need to be. And then I will just additionally been very fortunate to partner with the VSAC Gear Up funds. With the VSAC Gear Up funds, they had some additional funds that they needed to spend down. From there, you can see that we received a substantial amount of money from VSAC Gear Up that we've been using to develop new courses. And one of the courses that we've developed is Introduction to Dual Enrollment, Early College and Learning. We've also purchased equipment, so including laptops and the accessories that go with laptops so that students continue to learn during the summertime if they don't have access to equipment from schools. In addition to that, we've been able to grant 10 DoD scholarships for teachers to earn their online teaching specialist endorsement, and that will start in June. One of the things that we're most grateful for is that VSAC Gear Up is willing to cover the cost of students coming out of Gear Up schools of up to $50,000 for fall enrollments and summer enrollments. So we are very fortunate to be able to pass that on to schools right now. And then the last thing that we are starting as a new program, which the longstanding joke at VTVLC is that we would never start a new program, and yet we do every year. And this is to offer credit recovery. And that is the hope that we'll begin that this summer and be able to offer that throughout the year for students. Those are the ways in which we're using those additional funds. What's credit recovery? So credit recovery is for students that may have not passed a graduation requirement, and they are able to come to us online, and it's a specifically designed program for them to test into modules and determine what they know for proficiency, and then those that they don't know proficiency, they would go through those lessons, and then ultimately in the end, they would complete the entire test to say that I know everything that's in this module. So yes,
Super helpful.
super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all that I have.
Any questions for Ashley? And Jerry, when we do, hang on, just when we do our orientation, we'll explain what BTPLC is and how it fits in.
I'd like a little more better understanding of it.
Okay, so let's see if I get it right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So BTPLC is the Vermont Virtual Learning Collaborative. So this center, and this may come up actually in later discussions too, was sort of a pioneer in what's now called distance learning. So even prior to the pandemic, there was an interest in spinning it off to help particularly rural schools that didn't have resources to have, say, a language teacher or a history teacher and so forth. So because we are an independent school district, we had the flexibility to be the administrator of the state funding for that. So that created this animal that still lives under RVTC. Sorry.
That's okay. I was like, it is kind of like an animal. We're a beast.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be nice.
I
and
know.
friendly
I was like, we're a beast. Pretty cool. So we basically are the Agency of Education's provider for all virtual learning for the state. And we offer classes K-12. Sometimes it fits into rural needs where you don't have a world language teacher, and we can fit that need for students. Or a student might have a passion for marine biology and it's not offered locally. And so they can come and take it with us for online. We don't really often talk about the COVID year because that was a year that was really beastie for us. But we were the center for all on learning that covered that year.
That's emergency learning.
Yes, that was different.
Period.
There's a difference between emergency online learning and actual online learning. And so we are fully funded through the Agency of Education through a flexible pathway grants that we are very fortunate to receive every year. There is about 18 full-time BTPLC staff members. We have over 100 teachers that work with us, either adjunct or through partners. We work with 55 districts across the state, so there's just a few we're missing. And we work in a co-op model. Green Mountain is an example of this. So they usually will put a teacher in, and in return, they get a certain amount of seats. This coming year, they'll actually get a ledger credit instead, so they can use those funds to cover traditional classes or on-demand classes.
The two other sidebars is River Valley Tech Center has toyed with the idea of becoming a diploma granting institution that's been tossed around but has never really gotten traction. There's also the potential at some point of BTVLC spinning off and being its own entity and not under this organization. That also has yet to happen. So that's kind of why we're where we are. Okay. Cool. Any questions for Ashley? That was a good rundown. Thanks.
Thank you. You're right. You can all come to my virtual space if you like. Okay.
All right. Statewide CTE update.
The AOE is still pushing for a single education service agency. They call them ESA. It's what they shifted to after talking about having a single district. It's just kind of a different way of packaging pretty much the same idea. They want to improve consistency, align CTE with workforce needs, emphasize goals around access to CTE, getting it earlier in middle school, and making the system more cohesive. CTE centers are like high schools in Vermont. There's a lot of variability in how they work, what they deliver. The goals are great. However, Vermont's different depending on where you go. There's a lot of ways to achieve those goals without having to be under one organization. The House is pushing back a little bit. The Joint Fiscal Office isn't going to have the modeling for whether or not that would save us any money done until December, which is a little late when the biennium ends, maybe in June.
May, hopefully May.
That's a great thought. So I think we're still kind of in flux where we're going to end up. They haven't identified any new funding that would be coming to CTE. So the way the directors are looking at it is you're going to add several layers of bureaucracy. You haven't identified anything that's going to go away locally, and there's new funding or no new funding. So it's hard to see how that's going to save us money. And a lot of those goals could be achieved if just we were on the same page about what sending schools granted for credits / proficiencies for each program as a state. Like, I think we could check a lot of those boxes off at no cost without having to shake up the system. The other concerning piece is with educational organizations kind of up in flux about what that's going to look like in the future, taking everything in CTE, making it into one, and then potentially having to break it back up to put it back into some of those districts that may or may not be consolidated in the future. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So things are changing. We get like what, 5 or 6 pages every 2 days to keep up on. So we're staying on top of it, and we'll let you know where we end up at our next meeting and keep you in the loop.
I mean, the other reality is that the Senate is not at all interested in the concept of an Uber district. And so the tech center bill they passed doesn't touch that at all, and it really makes minor technical changes. The House has yet to pass a bill, an education bill of any sort, really. But both House Education and House Commerce were looking at CTE. The Senate bill is going to be their bill, but the administration is continuing to do this. And oh, by the way, there's some other things being talked about in education. So I think there's a desire to kind of sort that out first before they tackle anything here. Any questions on that, such as we know? Okay, great. Denial of academic credit from sending schools, something we talked about last month. Do you have an update?
I do. I'm really happy to be here today to say we've resolved this issue. I've got it in writing from all of our sending districts that they're going to be honoring the agreements that we have made in the past around credit and proficiencies. And we have seen a significant increase from some schools now that that's been made public. So that's great news. And I really appreciate our partners coming to the table, having the discussion and doing what's right for students.
Any questions on that? All right, appreciate your work on that, Derek. Union support staff negotiations.
We have our first meeting scheduled for April 13th and are looking forward to having those discussions and moving forward.
Okay, good, yeah. Great. Questions, comments on that? So we are in what, year 1 or 2 of our master agreement with the teaching staff? This is year 2 of a 3, right?
No, 1 of 3. Yeah.
1 of 3, I thought.
1, yeah. So just for the newer board members. Okay. All right, policy time. Nate.
Yeah, for old policies, B22, public complaints about personnel, and D7, special education, there are no updates on that set.
So again, for the benefit of Jess and Jerry, I don't know how you do it at your schools. We got to go through policies annually, and they get on the agenda in 3 consecutive months. There's opportunities for comment and tweaks and changes along the way. So this is the 3rd time around for these 2. Any questions or concerns from anybody on these 2 policies? Okay, we look for a motion to approve the 3rd reading and the adoption of policies B22, public complaints about personnel, and D7, special education.
Sorry, a little early there. So moved.
Second. Thank you, Chris. I saw Liza's hand. All right, any discussion on the motion? If not, those in favor, please raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
And anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. All right, next, 2nd time around, Derek.
Yeah, 2nd reading, we have C5 firearms, C6 participation of home study students, C7 student attendance, VTBLC adjunct teacher relocation outside of Vermont, as well as VTBLC employment relocation outside of Vermont. There are no new updates except for we recently had a conversation, Tina, Derek, and myself, in regards to creating new policies that are not model policies from BizBit. Because they don't have numbers, we are going to create a system of numbering our own policies. For example, for VTVLC, it will be B1, and then you'll see soon River Valley, we're going to label those like R1 and down. So just a point of reference that we'll update on the next rendition of this, but no new changes for the second reading.
Okay. Any questions or concerns about any of these? Okay, again, you get another crack next month. We look for a motion to approve the second reading and warn the third reading of policies C5 firearms, C6 participation of home study students, C7 student attendance, VTVLC adjunct teacher relocation outside of Vermont, and VTVLC employee relocation outside of Vermont. Someone make that motion, please. Kelly? And I saw Andrew. Any discussion on the motion? Those in favor, please raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. All right, under new business, Perkins CLNA, and let's explain what CLNA is.
So the CLNA is the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. We need to do one every 2 years in order to be eligible for our federal funding through the Perkins grant. And it really looks at how is the school performing. We disaggregate that through a ton of different groups to try to identify any gaps that we have or areas where we need to improve. We're reaching out to businesses to see, has our business community changed? Are there areas where there's been needs that we should be addressing? Do we have the right programs? Do we need to add things? Are programs becoming obsolete? So we really have to justify why we're doing what we do and how we do it every couple of years. Nate, is it possible for you to hop in your email and pull up that slideshow I shared with you? This is different than usual. Me presenting a slideshow at a board meeting is not how we normally roll. This is what I presented to our advisory committee not very long ago, except I cut a bunch of stuff out because you're on the board and you know what the programs are and all that sort of stuff.
Hang on, then Nate's got to make sure he can share.
Unless I shared the wrong one.
No, I'm just. Great, can everyone see?
Can you all see that on Zoom? Okay, great.
Perfect.
All right, want to skip forward, I think 2, Nate.
Yeah.
That's just 5 years of our enrollment data. So this year's not on there. We're down a little bit from that number. Where are we at? So we're back on the first page. 215. So still above most of those years, but not quite as good as last year. When you're looking at our 5-year performance data, if you see yellow, that's not within 10% of our goals that were set. We negotiate with the AOE every year. So this year, we didn't quite get there in academic proficiency in reading language arts. We do the work keys testing as a state. It's how we use a test that's kind of tied into what we do as opposed to a random standardized test that's really designed around, do you have the skills necessary to be successful in the workplace? We didn't quite hit math this year either. Science is tough. All of our students take science in like the first couple months of their junior year before we really have a chance to make any difference on their performance there. So federally, we have to be measured on that. 2 things that I'm super proud of. When you look at attain recognized post-secondary credential, that's an industry recognized credential that adds significant value when they graduate. We've done that 5 years in a row. Same thing with post-secondary credits. We've exceeded what we were expected to do for 5 years in a row. If you notice in FY24, they jumped our target up from 21.54% to 42.7% for the next year. So things that we do really well are help students achieve their goals and set them up for success, whether it's post-secondary or in industry. Individual disabilities, 4-year graduation rate, not quite as good. In the last couple of years, it's something we're going to have to look at. proficiency in reading language arts is there and math. One thing, especially for folks who are new, about mid to high 40% of our students are on a plan of some sort. And when it comes to students going to college, we are meeting or exceeding the rates that our sending schools are. So it's another thing that we're really proud about is we serve a more difficult to serve population and our outcomes are the same or better, which I think is really somewhere that we shine. But this just goes to show reading language arts for students on a plan is an area where we could improve. And the same with math. You want to head to the next one?
Yep.
Also, though, post-secondary credits and IRCs, even in that group, we're doing well in meeting goals. Students in non-traditional fields. So that's if you're like mostly non-traditional gender for the career field you're working in, the state setting targets for us. I think this is super important because when you look around the industries in Vermont, we don't have enough students. We need to make sure anybody who's interested in working in a field has an opportunity to get the skills that they need and are made aware of it, because I really believe we need to capture all of our employees we can and get them as skilled as we can so that Vermont can continue to thrive. This group in general, mathematics is a little bit of a struggle. Again, industry recognized credentials, college credits. Even with this group, we're doing really well. Work-based learning is at the bottom. I didn't talk about it on the last few. It's tough. We have whole programs where it's really hard to get students out. Manufacturing, insurance won't let a student on the floor if they're not 18. So we do things like tons of job shadows, get them out and do experience. For this category, in order for it to count, you've got to be on a paid co-op work experience, like a 40-hour job shadow at one place, or you've got to be on a like clinical rotation, or we have to figure out how to get it counted when, like, if students are working in a store or running a store, it's an actual store. There's a way to document through that through the state. So same thing, we have students who build a house. If you built a whole house, that's job experience.
Sure.
We've got to figure out how to capture that in a way that works for the state. And anybody who's out there, if you've got a great workplace and you want a chance to get the up and coming talent, reach out to our co-op coordinator, let us know. The earlier you do it, the more likely we are going to be able to place somebody with you. By the time we get to May, students are either planning on going to school or already employed. So if you've got opportunities, call us early. Little shameless plug there, sorry. You want to go to the next? We serve a large population of economically disadvantaged students. This, again, highlights, the graduation rates are lower for this group. It's an area we've got to improve, along with the academic proficiency in reading language arts and math. But again, when you get down to the bottom, those students are exceeding the rates for attaining industry recognized credentials and college credits. Skip one more time.
Yeah.
So when I look at that, areas where we can improve, we have this year or last year's scores for literacy and math could use some improvement. Co-op placements is an area we could improve over time. Where I really identify areas where we need to think about investing in change, literacy and math come up, and over time, literacy comes up more. So I'm going to continue to be doing more work, reaching out to our business communities, getting feedback from our teachers. But I just wanted to give you a heads up before I present a final plan in May that I am leaning towards with talking to our staff, working with our staff, trying to do some literacy PD as a school, as an area where I think we could make a difference because students buy in to our learning environment. And if we can make literacy meaningful to their career choices, I think we have an opportunity to increase those scores in a way that's going to benefit careers and not just be an academic exercise.
Literacy is right? If you can't read, probably can't read a math problem. I
Communicate.
mean, and, COVID, I think definitely anybody who was struggling struggled more coming out of COVID. So excited to hear that.
That was, any questions about the CLNA? That was really fast with a lot of data that I kind of breezed through. If you want more time, you want to see more numbers, got a lot.
And he inferred it, but so Perkins is a source of federal funding. The center has to file a Perkins plan every year. That will come to the board for review and approval next month. This is sort of a precursor to that in terms of what presumably will be emphasized in the plan.
And at our last advisory meeting last week, I shared all this data with employers and also asked for, like, what are you seeing in the field? What is our program covering that's great? What are we missing in our programs? Are there areas where you're noticing employees don't have specific skills? So we're trying to get feedback from as many parts of the community as we can to really serve it as well as possible.
I'll point out the ratio of the amount of work you have to do for $150,000, and about 30 of that state takes out the top, hasn't changed in 20-something years. And it's hundreds of pages of documentation. It's ordinate amount. If you figure it out by the hour, it'll make you very depressed as a person that's done quite two of them. So I'm glad Derek's doing it this year.
Yeah. So for Jess and Jerry, that's Scott Farr, the former superintendent director, Derek's predecessor, and he still is a mentor to Daria. Right. Any questions about the CLNA overview? Great. Items B and C we will discuss after executive session. So we're going to go to D, policy time, first time around for these guys.
Okay, yeah, we have 3 policies. First one is B3, alcohol and drug-free workplace. This is a proposed model policy that maintains the same expectations for a drug and alcohol-free workplace, but updates language for clarity and consistency. It refines definitions and expands wording around treatment options to emphasize recovery and substance use support. Overall, the changes just modernize the terminology without significantly altering expectations. Okay. The next one, we will put a policy number on it. This one is from the AOE. It doesn't have a policy number on it, so hopefully that will come out in time from them. This policy creates a cell phone-free school environment during the academic day to support focus and student well-being. It requires clear procedures for storage, enforcement, and communication with families. Limited exceptions are allowed for health, educational, or legal needs. We'll need to build our own school procedures on this. So this is a work to come for our school. Yeah, so we still have to build this out on our end, but this is the policy at the state that will start next year. Next one is will be an RVTC policy. This is one that came out in regards to an insurance need. So this policy is based on BCIC's template. It outlines how the schools conduct and manage fingerprint-based criminal history record checks for employment and volunteers. It establishes strict rules for access, storage, training, and confidentiality of sensitive information. It also defines procedures for adverse decisions, incident reporting, and consequences for misuse.
Any questions on either of these, any of these?
So Nate, I think you said that the fingerprint one had to do with insurance.
Yeah.
It's not really the insurance, it's the requirements of the CIC, the Vermont CIC.
Okay.
We're in the process of being audited by the CIC.
CIC means?
The criminal investigations. So when we have a new employee or even a volunteer here, they need to be background checked. And we're in the middle of an audit by them. And they brought up the fact that this policy should be, as one of our policies. It's not one provided by BizBit. However, we are working on implementing this so that we meet the requirements of being able to do the background checks and do them the way that they're required by law.
Makes sense. Any questions or concerns about any of these? Again, they'll come around twice more. All right. I'd look for a motion to approve the first reading and warn the second reading of policies B3, alcohol and drug-free workplace, student use of cell phones, and fingerprint-based criminal history record information checks made for non-criminal justice purposes. Say that 5 times fast. Kelly makes the motion. Anybody seconds? Des, any questions on the motion? Those in favor, please raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Superintendent's report.
On March 5th, Kelly Roker Campbell and Terry Herzog brought a panel of students to Green Mountain to talk about their experience at RVTC. On the 5th and 6th, FBLA was at the State Leadership Conference. We had first in website coding development with Alex Coate and Gabe Winther. Sports entertainment management, we got second with Jake Tostrup and Bryson Gray. Insurance and risk management, we got first for Nevaeh Corliss. Paisley Plummer came in fourth in economics. Caden Prue and Joseph Richards came in second in graphic design. Everett Barlow took second in intro to retail and merchandising. Leland Taylor and Mary Margaret Jones took first in public service announcement. And Marianne, how do I say the last name? Naidu got first in public speaking. I had the chance to be there. It was pretty awesome. Jake is a vice president, and for FBLA, that's a big deal. Ton of public speaking, leading one of the workshops we were in. It was awesome. March 7th, Robotics Club went to Mission 26, the time warp drone competition at Kearsarge Middle School in New Hampshire. On the 9th, Criminal Justice Level 2 visited the Black River Valley Senior Center to deliver their scam awareness presentation. Apparently it's so awesome, places keep asking them to come back. So that's pretty exciting that public service is really paying off and in demand. March 10th, Horticulture and Natural Resources students continued game of logging at the flood control dam. Students instructed and practiced safe ways to get a hung tree to the ground without using any heavy equipment, and learned how to buck up logs safely. Also on the 10th, Green Mountain Union High School students visited RVTC as a career exploration visit. Students were assigned to programs to visit based on a career interest inventory. We have students come in 7th grade, check everything out with one experience, 8th grade, another experience. Sophomore year is this experience where they do a career interest inventory, and instead of seeing everything, they spend 20 minutes in the 2 programs that match up to their career interest inventory the most. On the 11th, health students attended the HOSA State Leadership Conference in Burlington. Brooklyn Parker took second in health career photography, and Lyric Rodriguez took bronze in medical terminology. On March 11th, Mindy Dame, the Director of Women's and Children's Services and OBGYN at the Southwestern Vermont Medical Center, shared a presentation. Students walked through how nurses assess and care for patients, educational and professional pathways into nursing, and her journey into the nursing field. Also on the 11th, Tech Time kicked off again. For those who don't know, Tech Time is for middle school students. It's a 3-week after school program once a week where you get to come and experience a program with a teacher and give it a try. It's pretty awesome, and it's one of the ways we use our Perkins funds. We did applied math testing for work keys as required by Perkins on the 11th as well. 11th and 18th, Health Sciences participated in the MEDIC sponsored by Southern Vermont AHEC. It's a great partner here in town designed to get more students into the health careers fields. They deep dived into the world of allied health careers. They had engaging hands-on presentations, learned directly from experienced professionals who are making a real difference. The more we get students out and to see this, the better they are able to make great decisions about their future. On the 12th, Kristen Wilson, our information technology teacher, started teaching another round of computer skills training for the workforce for adults in the community. Also on the 12th, Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering went to VTSU for their popsicle bridge building competition. I forgot where we had, I know we had students who placed high in different divisions. There's a bunch of different categories from most weight to weight of the bridge itself to the weight that it holds, the design. We had some in there, but I forgot to get them in here. Also on the 12th, we have student of the quarter meals. So for the first, second, and third quarters, each program instructor picks a student of the quarter for each level, and we do a breakfast and a lunch. And this year's been awesome. They've been way chattier than usual, and it's been nice to actually hear teenagers talk to each other and adults. March 13th, the Vermont Army National Guard visited Health Sciences Level 1 and some pre-tech students and certified them in Stop the Bleed. It was really cool, and it comes different when it's delivered by those professionals with experience. So big thank you to them for giving us their time with that. On the 14th and 15th, First Robotics went to Bedford, New Hampshire. This is a long month. On the 16th, Criminal Justice continued to work on their mock crime scene. They're going to be competing in that in Skills USA. Really excited. This is like the second time we've had a Skills USA team in criminal justice, and it's a great opportunity for them to really go deeper with their skills and what otherwise would just be a project. The 17th was another scam awareness presentation in Ludlow. On the 17th, Nate and Kelly Broker Campbell presented at a VSAC College and Career Pathways event at Landmark College. 18th, we had the WorkKeys workplace document testing. We did exploring pathways in physical therapy, speech language pathology, occupational therapy with Daniel Couture and Kate O'Neill and Gabriel Loomis from the Southwestern Vermont Medical Center. 18th and 25th, Health Sciences Level 1 students started their month-long job shadow rotations at Springfield Hospital. Huge thank you to Springfield Hospital. They get our students in. I know it takes a lot of effort from their staff to make this happen, and it really does help shape health science careers. The 19th and 22nd, March Madness Hoosier Signature Tournament in Indiana. I think one of our teams won the middle school all-around championship at this first ever national competition before it's just been regional. It was a huge lift for Mr. Gray. It was awesome. Students did great. So we're really proud of them. March 25th, the third WorkKeys test is graphic literacy. You need all three to get an IRC saying you're completely work ready. And that means you've got a minimum of a 5 of 7 on all categories. 27th, Kelly Broker Campbell represented us at the Cavendish Town Elementary School, where students learned about careers in carpentry, digital arts, culinary arts, and business. The 30th, Criminal Justice went to Whalen Engineering in Charlestown to learn about the emergency equipment that they produce. Also on the 30th, Springfield Hospital Chief Nursing Officer Becca LaPointe and nursing educator Marissa Miller-Bennett visited Level 2 to discuss work-based learning and paid co-op opportunities. Another huge thank you to them. And on the 31st, detectives from the Vermont State Police Polygraph Unit visited Criminal Justice Level 2 and did a presentation and a demonstration of the polygraph exam. It was really cool. I did a bunch of stuff, but I just talked a lot. So,
Bob, Derek won't send along. I'll speak like Sharon back. I know how you feel.
Thankfully, we were efficient earlier, so we had time.
I like to talk about students. My stuff is less exciting and you can see all the things I was up to. I think we also missed, we hosted a drone competition here one of those weekends that I think didn't make it in there as well. So I think Mr. Gray's done like 6 days a week for like 6 weeks straight, something ridiculous.
That's also legislative breakfast here too, like I.
Yeah,
That was last month, wasn't it?
it was in March.
Oh, I missed that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's good time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tina?
So at the FBLA Leadership Conference, we also have a student who was voted in as the new vice president of FBLA. So now 2 years in a row, we've had one of our students as a state rep.
And that's not just career centers. There's a bunch of high schools who have chapters. So going 2 for 2 is pretty impressive.
It's pretty cool.
Great. Any questions for Derek? All right, if not, our next regular board meeting is May 6th, and I want to put a placeholder for you on May 26th will be the annual RVTC Awards Night, National Tech Center Honor Society induction. So one of my favorite nights of the year and something that's very cool here at this facility. So otherwise, pursuant to Title I VSA Section 313, I would ask for a motion to the board to enter executive session to discuss personnel items, because premature general public knowledge would clearly place people at a substantial disadvantage, inviting Derek, Nate, Ashley, and Scott. Can I get someone to make that motion, please? Kelly and Liza. Any discussion on the motion? Those in favor, please raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Stop recording, please. Okay, we're back. All right, it is 5:58. We're out of executive session, and hi, Christine. Series of motions regarding reduction in force notices for RVTC and VTBLC. I will do these one at a time. First one, to approve a reduction in force notification to eliminate the 0.8 FTE outreach coordinator position, and approve the superintendent in consultation with myself as chair to recall the position if we receive the pending Perkins grant funds. Someone make that motion. Andrew. I want to second the motion. Kelly. Kelly.
To make it quicker, we could probably just designate.
Well,
2 people, whatever.
Sure. You guys want to do that? Great.
More efficient than we're not like.
Yep. Any questions on that motion? Those in favor, raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Next, to approve a reduction in force notification to eliminate the 0.5 FTE audio video production instructor position due to low enrollment.
So moved.
Motion Andrew, second Kelly. Discussion on the motion. Those in favor, raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Next, to approve a reduction in force notification to reduce the 1.0 FTE audio video production instructor position to 0.58 FTE, and approve the superintendent in consultation with myself as board chair to recall the position to 1.0 FTE to include distance learning instruction upon receipt of the time grant award notification.
So moved.
Andrew moves, Kelly seconds. Discussion on the motion? Those in favor, please raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, 2 more. To approve a reduction in force notification to eliminate the 0.58 FTE information technology instructor position, and approve the superintendent in consultation with myself as board chair to recall the position to 1.0 FTE to include distance learning instruction upon receipt of the time grant award notification.
So moved.
Andrew and Kelly. Discussion on the motion? Those in favor, please raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
And anybody opposed? Thank you. One more riff one. A motion to approve reduction in force notification to eliminate the following 1.0 FTE VTVLC positions due to budget restraints and low enrollment. An FTE VTVLC elementary teacher, a VTVLC 712 teacher for science and math, and a VTVLC 712 teacher for social studies and English.
So moved.
Andrew, seconded by Kelly. Discussion on that motion. Those in favor, please raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. All right, that's the RIF notifications. Letters of intent. We look for a motion to approve the issuance of teacher contracts for 2026-27 at the rates of pay pursuant to Article 24 of the Master Agreement between the RVTC School District Board of Directors and the Springfield Teachers Association of Vermont NEA/NEA.
So moved.
And second, I'll give it to Kelly. Any discussion on that motion? Folks in favor, please raise hands or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Do we have any other business to come before the board? If not, our next meeting is scheduled for May 6th. We're adjourned at 6:02. Thank you, everybody.
To order copies of this program, please call 802-885-6248. This program was created using equipment of SAPA TV. The views and opinions expressed in this video are not necessarily those of SAPA TV or its staff. Visit us online at www.sapatv.org. And as always, thanks for watching.